Greetings everybody, welcome back out into the landscape. It's going to be another talking head video, I'm afraid, but I'm just sat here looking. This is Thirlmere. I'm just using a long lens to look at the other side of the lake. Reason for that is the sun is sort of over there and it keeps coming in, going in and coming out, and as it does so it sweeps over the landscape and it's illuminating different collections of trees. And it's just making for very interesting scenes. So I've sat here for quite some time actually, just looking at what's going on in front of me. And this is a rare occasion where I'm using the LCD screen because it's actually quicker to look at the scene and look at the LCD screen than it is to use the EVF. But whilst I'm doing this, I'm going to talk to you about a question that I've not been asked before. I'd done a talk to a camera club here in the UK, and the conversation that I was having with the membership got round to, you know, how we plan outings and where we choose to go and so on and so forth. And I think there's this popular misconception, I think, that, you know, everybody that's serious about using a camera does something with their photographs. To be fair, I used to do something serious with my photographs back in 2005, 2006. I actually did some photography for a Formula One team, which was a fantastic experience. But the question that I was asked is, what do you do with your photographs? You know, you go out into the landscape, you do all these things, you do your YouTube videos, but what do you do with your pictures? And do you know what? It's a really, really good question. And it wasn't a question that I could answer immediately. I had to sort of think it through before I did so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and explain the answer to that question in this video, because I've said this before. I take photographs for me. I do photography because I enjoy it, because I love being out in the landscape, because I quite enjoy the kit. But at the end of it, there has to be a purpose. And obviously as anybody that's followed me for any length of time, you will know that my purpose behind creating pictures is to try and capture an atmosphere, a reaction, try and capture my sentiment to the place that I'm in. Because personally, I think photography should have a purpose. You know, those people that do fighter jets and things like that, they do it to capture the speed and all the rest of it. For some people, it's the technical challenge. For me, it's a little bit more deep down and a bit more emotive. So whilst the sun's in, let's deal with the obvious one, social media. Yes, I put some of my photographs on social media. I mean, I don't use social media particularly well, if I'm being brutally honest. I have a Facebook presence, which I don't update as often as I should. I know lots of my friends and family are on social media, so it's a good way of being able to share what I've been up to with family and friends and work colleagues and so forth. So yeah, I use some of my photographs on social media. I have to say, from the point of view of generating interest in my photography, and certainly interest in, say, either workshops or camera club talks, I haven't found social media to be that useful and that helpful. That said, I know of at least several photographers that use social media an awful lot, and as a result of they do on social media, it works for them. They do actually generate interest in, you know, their books and their calendars and workshops and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really work for me, if I'm being perfectly honest, probably because I'm not very good at it. Since we're on YouTube, making a YouTube video, let's talk about YouTube. Yes, occasionally some of the images that I will create in order to help illustrate a YouTube video, or, you know, put a full stop on a point that I'm trying to make, or a technique that I'm trying to demonstrate. Like some photographers, I will show the good images as well as the bad images. I think it's just as important to show your failures as it is to show your successes, because my personal view is you learn from your failures. you don't necessarily learn so much from your successes. So yeah, I do show images on YouTube, but I don't head out into the landscape, even though like today I'm out trying to create some YouTube content. Not all the images that I take today will appear in a YouTube video. It's multifaceted. I've been out for quite some time this morning already, and there are a few images that I've just taken because I've liked the scene, and it's an opportunity to grab it and, you know, try and translate that what does this place mean to me reaction. That will never appear on YouTube unless, of course, it helps to illustrate the point. Sometimes also the images will make it onto thumbnails, little static images that are used to illustrate a video. More often than not, I will take a video still, but occasionally, every once in a while, the still image will make it onto the thumbnail instead. I do have a website at hualban.com, and I do have a small gallery. So yes, images make it onto that gallery. I also use some of the images that I take to help to illustrate workshops. So today I'm in the Lake District National Park. So if I'm going to have a page that advertises a Lake District workshop, then I might use images that I've created today, possibly, to help illustrate that workshop. And that would be as true for the images that I've created for YouTube videos. It's not exclusively that I'll create an image for a YouTube video and it'll only appear in the YouTube video. So I use images for my website for a couple of purposes. I don't do calendars and books. I'm just not big enough and not visible enough in order to make that work as a product. Might happen one day. I did do, there's an Open Studios event that I did this year, and I did have some handmade calendars that I sold as part of that event, but they took me hours to print and took me hours to put together. Certainly not the kind of thing that I could do actively and sell, you know, hundreds or thousands of them, because I just wouldn't have the time to make them all. But yeah, so images sometimes make it into products, just not very often. So the last one is actually going to be Camera Club Talks. That is probably the biggest outlet for the images that I create. And I didn't really expect that to be the answer, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I never actually set out to create images just for Camera Club Talks, but that's where most of them actually go on show. Now, I'm quite deliberate in the way in which I use images for Camera Club Talks, because I use a lot of images from the Lake District National Park, because that's a handy way of being able to advertise group workshops here in the Lake District. I also use quite a few images from my home county of Dorset, because again, it's a good way of being able to advertise one-to-ones and show people the potential that they could realise by coming on a workshop with me and learning to do some of the things that I choose to do. But yeah, Camera Club Talks, that's probably the one event, and I do quite a few Camera Club Talks at the moment, where most of my images actually make it. And maybe it's something that I should actually pay attention to and make sure that the images that I capture are going to make it into a Camera Club Talk for a specific purpose, as opposed to what I tend to do is come up with a subject for a Camera Club Talk, sit down and kind of write out a script, and then try and find the pictures to fit it. Perhaps I actually ought to do it the other way around, write the script and then set out and take the pictures. But so yeah, if you're in the UK and you want to see my pictures and you're a member of a camera club, then drop me a line, and maybe we can arrange a Camera Club Talk. Of course, these days we're using Zoom a lot more, so we can do it virtually. It doesn't have to be face to face, and that's maybe where you'll get to see more of my images. Also, it can be done overseas as well, of course, depending on the time zone differences as well. But yeah, I just wanted to set down the answer to that question, and at the time I really did have to sort of sit there and think, crikey, nobody's asked me that before. And there you have it. There's the answer. So there you go. That's where my photographs mostly appear. Hope it's been useful, interesting, helpful. Maybe have a think about where your photography mainly ends up, and maybe let me know in the comments below. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and as ever, your support is very gratefully received. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, stay safe. See you soon. That was a private jet. Nice. Be nice to have your own jet and fly around the Lake District National Park. Ugh. I need that lottery win. That's what I need. Well, in fact, I need to enter the lottery first. That might actually help. Right. Cut.